Welcome into the Game Plan with head coach Dan Quinn. Here are your hosts, Bryan Colbert Jr. and Logan Paulsen.
Welcome into the Game Plan. Logan, our last game of the regular season, and it's against the Cowboys. We catch up with head coach Dan Quinn and talk about today's matchup.
Then we head in the film room and talk about how we can make the Dallas Cowboys pay.
Then you know how we end the show. It's the must-watch matchups. We end the show with that and talk about the must-watch matchups we want to look for against the Dallas Cowboys. All that and more
on the Game Plan.
Welcoming in head coach Dan Quinn. Clinched the playoffs. That's something some people never get to do. You did it in your first year. How great does that feel? And what does that say about what this team's doing this year?
Well, this is a fun team to coach. Yeah. And they are tough. They battle for it in a lot of ways. And in this game, I thought, what a great demonstration of brotherhood of guys stepping into spaces to make plays. We knew this would be a hard game. We knew Atlanta was absolutely back to the wall, going for it. And so we were going to have a 5-quarter mindset going into it. And sure enough, it went into that extra session. And sometimes we just say that. Yeah, but this one we meant it.
Yeah, and you've done it a couple of times. You did it with Seattle, Atlanta. What are some similarities with those teams maybe in this one that kind of say, hey, this team or the structure of this team is built the right way?
For me, being along the journey with everybody and to see the leaders lead and have high standards, Logan, about how you practice, how you meet, how you do walkthroughs, and those things matter, man. They carry over into the games, and knowing that they're willing to make the sacrifices that's needed to play well. And teammate to teammate, you've seen that, what it looks like, what it feels like. And so there's a lot of players on this team that sacrifice a lot knowing that they're willing to give it up for one another.
And, Coach, we talk a lot about those winning time moments.
Yes.
So you're headed into overtime at home. What is your message to these guys to get their mindset right for that overtime drive?
You know, going out, when you're in overtime, obviously you want the ball, so we were going to take that first if you get a chance to go and score, and that's the game. So we were going to be pretty aggressive into that spot if we had our chances to be. And I thought Jaden, man, in that drive alone was just on it, and like all the way down the field. And we even took a timeout at the end. I could see him and Marcus talking, their communication together, and an absolute rip to Zach. So those winning time moments, we practice them a lot, knowing that, you know, what could happen, what's the scenario, what's the situation, and being comfortable in those spots. That's a big deal.
And so, again, you probably practice 2-minute quite a bit, third down, you know, he's second and long. But how much do you talk about or practice the overtime scenario? Because I was like thinking back to when I played, and I don't know if we talked about it. I don't know if we did it that much.
We did it 2 weeks ago, going into Philadelphia. Wow. And we did an overtime as part of our 2-minute at the end to say, this isn't fast. You know, this is a regular, because in the overtime 10-minute period, there's a 2-minute that would come up at the end, just like a quarter. You get 2 timeouts. There's no challenge from me, only from the booth. So going through those will be good. And in a few weeks, we'll adjust those guidelines for what it means in the playoffs, because it's not the same regulations in the regular season as is in the postseason. So we'll wait till then, till we discuss those. But yeah, we stay on a pretty regular cadence.
Love that. And, that's fantastic.
Yes,
yeah,
it's we just want the guys to feel comfortable in those spots.
Yeah.
And, Coach, as we turn the page to today's game, Dallas, a tough place to play, as you know. What is the biggest key to finding success here in Dallas?
You know, it is a tough environment. The fans are fantastic in Dallas. They long time tradition, you know, there with the team, so it can get loud. And that, if you can handle the noise, you know, then it's an even playing field. And so that's usually the trick when you play at a stadium that can get rocking to go. You got to be able to handle the noise.
And so much of that is probably predicated on being effective offensively and
That's
getting
right.
them to be quiet, right? Like, and how important is that going to be?
And different snap counts and different cadences and different silent counts. And the offensive line is really at the front of that. And they have their ways, different silent ways. And so we'll work through that all through the week, knowing that there'll be some times when, you know, no cadence, no clap, everything on silent. And we'll need that. But like I said, the offensive line, quarterbacks, everybody, we have our ways, and we do that sometimes in walkthrough. There is no verbal communication, you know, on these next, you know, plays. And so we try to make it loud at practice, but nothing can simulate, you know, an in-game environment.
So when I was with you in Atlanta, you guys did something, and I always credit it to Matt Ryan, but maybe it's yours, where he would whisper for walkthroughs.
Yes.
He'd whisper the cadence. He'd whisper the snap count. Is that something you've brought from him, or who gave you that?
Greg Knapp.
Yeah, Greg Knapp, man.
Wow.
And so make the people listen,
make
them engaged, to pay attention. And you can see it on TV at a stadium when everybody is putting their helmet into the huddle, not this way, but really trying to dig in and listen. And I don't know if there's one, stadium that sticks out one to another for you, where you had to put your helmet sideways to go. And those are ones that you have to be ready for that. And Dallas is one of those spots.
Seems like every week we watch our defense and they continue to improve. Big moments are happening. Quan Martin's interception to start the game was huge. How can our defense continue to improve today against Dallas?
We thought, getting a fast start would be a big deal for us. And so they decided to take the ball. I'm talking about Atlanta on the opening drive. And so to get the interception early and then go get a touchdown, we call that making them pay. Here's the takeaway, and then you go get the touchdown and get points off of it. So that was an important start for us. That's starting fast. And anytime you can get that kind of momentum going early, that's a big deal for your team.
And so not only did you get the interception, but you had 2 sacks, which again, I think they're really cool plays because the coverage is supporting the rush and the rush is kind of coming to life. How do you kind of build off some of that stuff that the guys did well?
I love the use of the stunts in this game, and great. 2 of the sacks caused fumbles, and we didn't get the ball. And so I love when we hit it in a sack, because anytime you knock the ball out, that is a sack. And so both Dante and Dorrance both got it. And so we got to make sure that you can, finish that play with getting the ball out. But having rushers, when the space is there, beat chip plans, do things, we'll need to be at our best again, at Dallas.
And, Coach, you got Jonathan Allen back. And on our pregame show, we have the camera on the field, and we see this big scrum, this breakdown. And in the middle of it is Jonathan Allen getting the boys right. His first game back. How important is it to have him back, and how did he help this team?
Yeah, honestly, it's great to have him back, because you're adding another player with that type of style and attitude that he can bring to the team. And so we had a certain, amount of snaps that, we allotted him to play in this game as he's on his way back, and we'll do a little bit more as we're going into Dallas. But just having his presence back and his strength back, it's really cool.
And, I think it kind of allows you to use some guys in some different ways. Right. Praying gets to play defensive end, Holmes comes in, plays end, and just some different packages. And I'm sure that flexibility is helpful, right? And I think his presence helps with that.
It does, because it does allow you to mix and match when you want to load up on the run or change it up into a certain group to pass. And so having him back, because he got injured against Baltimore, so it's been a long time. So to get him back in the rhythm, man, he's really worked hard.
Logan touched on how our defensive guys have all been ready, that next man up mentality. But on the offense, we see the same thing. C-Rod, Olamide, guys are stepping up. As a coach, how do you keep these guys ready and prepared for when their number's called?
We have one standard, and so if Logan was a tight end, it's not just the 3 guys that are up. Cole Turner also has to be ready.
Yeah.
And so everybody in that room has the responsibility to ready. You just don't know when your number's called. So whether that's at running back, at offensive line, it's not just the 48 that are playing. We have a 70-man roster, including all the practice squad. And so every one of those 70, if called upon, they have to be ready to deliver. So they get reps at practice. They're quizzed in the same way. So there's no redshirting here. You've got to be ready. Not to say everybody plays, but you do have to be ready.
Is there anybody that's surprised you with how they've been able to stay ready? Because it's tough,
it's
man.
Really it's hard. And Chris Rodriguez comes to mind, where he started off, practice squad, not a lot of reps to go. So he would be one that absolutely jumps out to me. On the defensive side, I would say Michael Walker, although he hasn't played a lot. Yeah. He's done a lot on teams. He practices. He's got command. He can make the calls to go. That would be another one. So Carl Davis, I thought, and 3 turns for him to come up off the practice squad, played square and strong. And so there's a number of players that, when called upon, they're really ready to deliver. And it's a big responsibility. And so I don't view our team as a team and then a practice squad. It's just one roster. I don't differentiate that. Some are just inactive for the games.
And I think one thing that surprised a lot of people was the strength of Zach Ertz and what he's been able to do this season, especially how he's finished this season. What are you seeing from him that we don't see on the field, in the locker rooms, in the weight rooms? What is the work he's doing to be able to still play at such a high level?
You know what? He's been a man on a mission for the whole time. And last season didn't go well for him. Wasn't sure where his career was even going to go, and would he be able to play still? And so coming here, took a leap of faith in Adam and myself. But he also really put the work in. We knew he was a good route runner, and would he have a role in the red zone and on third down? And he did, and then some, and built it more into the offense and more. And he's got great standards about him. He's been an excellent teammate to these other tight ends, to the quarterback. And so he has really taken advantage of this op and really made an impact on our team.
You can tell that with how he runs routes and his preparation, all that stuff. But the thing that surprised me in the game was I don't think he had 56 yards in him still, like to break an explosive play like that. So it's great to see him kind of make that happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we give him a little, stuff once in a while, but his presence is felt. He's got honestly command like you, Logan. Like he can think like a quarterback. What is my split here? What if I was out here? He can see the game from the view of his helmet differently, and not everybody can do that. But he can. He has a wide vision, man. He sees a lot, and he's able to articulate it, be in the right spot. He's very quarterback friendly.
Yeah, very quarterback friendly.
And Coach, it's crazy to say this, but we are at our regular season finale, last game of the season. What has been your message to the guys to finish out this season strong before the playoffs?
The only fight that matters is the one you win.
Man.
Every week, man.
Every week.
One day you're going to get it, Brian. I'm telling you. I feel strongly.
I love it. I love the message. I need it every time.
You try to sneak that one in too. Real subtle. What about this week, Coach?
Yeah. I mean, just roll the ball out there, see what happens. No. We left a lot on the field, we thought, in our last game. And so we feel like we got a number of things for us to work on. And if we play like we're capable of, then anybody, anywhere, anytime. But we've got to work to be able to, play like we're capable. That nobody has to put the cape on, but we got to do what we do collectively really well.
Coach, a huge game today. Can't wait to see you guys play. But before we do that, you and Logan got to get in that field room. Appreciate you, Coach.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Always great hearing from Coach. Now, let's hear a little more about today's matchup. It's time for a competitive edge brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official partner of the Washington Commanders. Now here's a look at the upcoming competition for the Commanders. The Commanders are in Dallas for their final matchup of the regular season. If Washington wins against the Cowboys, they will have control of the 6th seed in the NFC playoffs. Washington has won 11 games for the first time since 1991, which was the season they won their most recent Super Bowl. Now stay right there, Commanders family. Logan and Coach Quinn will head into the film room right after this break to talk about the dynamic defense. And later on in the show, Logan and I will talk about the matchups we're looking forward to watching today at Northwest Stadium.
You're watching The Game Plan, presented by the Maryland Lottery. Please play responsibly. And by Marsh McLennan Agency, official employee benefits partner of the Washington Commanders. And by Cognier Technology, secure today, shape tomorrow.
Welcome back into the Game Plan. It's time to go inside the film room. Brought to you by the Maryland Lottery. Please play responsibly.
All right, Coach, got the Dallas Cowboys today, a team you're very familiar with, but there was a lot of stuff in this Atlanta game that I thought, man, we can really learn from and apply today against Dallas. So this first off is just the ball is life, right? We got a little two-man. We're going to kind of get to our half fields here, and just great job by Quan again. I don't know who Nine's throwing to here, but you got to make the play when it's called, and he does a great job of that.
That's right, and two-man has specific characteristics to it where you play low and underneath routes, and so being aggressive, making it look like a pressure, and then having the quarterback have to say, okay, it's not a pressure. We really wanted it to look like a blitz, Logan.
Yeah, it looks like a blitz,
He's guarding the back, people are down, bringing wags, and now come back out and change it. And now you do have vision on the QB, so you can then break on the ball.
Yeah, I think that's a great point too, because again, for people at home, like this is middle field safety. This looks like one plug, one something like that, one lurk. And again, for him to change the picture post snap for a young quarterback, I'm sure is extremely challenging.
And so I thought Joe did a good job changing up the looks to say, okay, now as this one goes up, Quan does a good job, going to get the ball in the air, and then now the guys transition and try to lead it up the sideline, and if you can do that and get the ball,
working here.
That's right, in that side of the field, then you got a chance to go make them pay. And offensively, going to get a score, that's the name of the game.
Yeah, I love the term "make it pay" there, right? Because you got to capitalize on those opportunities. It's one thing to get the turnover, but the offense has to capitalize on it. And this is 4th and 2, and again, a very gutsy call here. Love the play design, kind of working this option, right? So we're going to get the back downhill. We're going to read this end man line of scrimmage, and Jaden has been excellent with this all year, but his ability to run the football, I think you see its effect. Like if you watch number 3 here, like he is playing run all day, and it just affords such an opportunity to make a play in the passing game.
And we've been in a lot of unbalanced.
Yes.
And so the tackle over, inside zone, to be strong, to go into that side, we've done that a bunch, or the keep to come out of it. And then so to be aggressive for Jaden coming out, selling the run, and now having the opportunity to either high-low the corner. If he goes down to the tight end, you want to throw it high. If he stayed up high, you throw it to the tight end.
Yeah, and again, this is one of those things that makes him special, I think. I don't know if my body bends that way, right? Like that ability to open your shoulder, get that thing whipped around is very special to be that accurate with it.
It's not so easy to do going to that side.
And sprinting full. I mean, sprinting full. It's a great play, great design, and again, way to capitalize on that opportunity with the turnover. And we were talking about 2-man earlier, and I think this is maybe my favorite clip of it from the game, right? Because get a sack, you do a great job playing leverages and playing coverages. It's the same type of thing. We got the middle safety back here, showing him one look. You can tell he's like, oh, I like this matchup down here at the bottom. Let me work it, but. Hold the phone, right? We're going to rotate to those 2 deep players. And you talked about leverages, and I feel like you see it here on this play really, really clearly.
Yep. And so usually a receiver wants to work, a certain type of leverage against when you're playing man-to-man. So on this particular one, you can see guys staying low and inside, knowing that their help is over the top. And so sometimes on this one, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, it's good to stay down low on option routes. You can stay and be aggressive on them.
Yeah, and I see this right here. He's in the hip pocket, right? He wants to throw the go. No, sir. We're aggressive. We're not letting him kind of play across our face. It's really well executed here. Great call. And again, when you get a quarterback to kind of pull the football down, the rush can get home. And this rush here just did a great job.
Yeah, and when you can put the 2 together, that's where it really comes to life. And so some blitzes come out of this overload front where you put all defensive linemen to one side, both the linebackers opposite, who's rushing, who's dropping. And so John and Dante honestly, make a good one to this side, and Dante does a great job of getting a shot at the ball coming through.
Yeah, it's really just a great job for the defensive tackle here, taking 2, and the movement skills of Fowler here are tremendous, right? The ability to skinny through here, and then the awareness, right?
Yep.
That ball's out there pretty good, Coach.
That's a little bit different on the lefty onto that side. So when you can see that leather, and Dante's got plenty of experience, but nice job by him getting his 10th of the year.
10th of the year, that's a great number. Nice double digits. And then this play, Coach had to put in there a little Texas kind of return route out by Bates, and then a clear out here. And it's a big play, great throw, and really just getting the W in this game, pretty special.
Yep, and this, Logan, down in the low red zone, lots of man-to-man.
Yes.
And so this guy in the back's a pretty good defender. He's only 11 yards away, so you have to try to work things laterally. And what a great route by Zach, working like he's going to the flat and then bringing it back inside.
You see him here,
And Jaden absolutely zero hesitation to go rip this ball. That thing was humming.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty special ball there, and again a great catch. And you talked about Zach when we were talking earlier, just the way his leadership has been, his competitiveness has been. It's been outstanding, and just love to see the guys finishing in these winning time moments is very special.
Yeah, and it takes everybody, man. So the pass protection, the moments to go, Jaden's run to set up that play to get to a close one. So that connection, they're all an extension of each other, and that's a really good illustration of that.
And get one more shot at it versus Dallas today before we hit the playoffs. So really excited about all that.
Always great to hear from Coach and Logan. Now it's time for your Prime Player, brought to you by DC Prime, Loudoun's premier steakhouse. For dinner reservations or private dining, call 703-840-2099. This week's Prime Player is veteran tight end Zach Ertz. Ertz caught the game-winning overtime touchdown for rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels in last week's game against the Falcons. That was his second of 2 touchdowns for the game. It was his 6th touchdown pass of the season, and it helped the Commanders clinch a playoff berth for the first time since 2020. Now, if you want to hear more about your favorite Washington Commanders and today's game in Dallas, stay right there, because Logan and I will be right back to talk about the upcoming matchups we cannot wait to see today. Welcome back into the Game Plan, Commanders family. I have great news for you. We have Commanders content going out every day this week. We have podcasts, shows, press conferences, and so much more. Be sure to subscribe to the Commanders YouTube page and turn on the bell so that you get notified every time we post. Now it's time for your Ticket to a Win, presented by SeatGeek. The most disruptive idea in ticketing, a ticket that works. Expect the expected. SeatGeek. Logan, as always, our ticket to a win are these must-watch matchups, and you only got like 30 seconds, so I'm only giving you one, brother. It's the very first one right here.
Yeah, I love this. Micah Parsons versus the offensive line, and to me, this is maybe the thing that makes the game. When you look at the first matchup, this guy, obviously, defensive player of the year, caliber player, but they moved him all around the front. He played end, he played tackle, played nose, and everybody had to kind of find a way in a one-on-one matchup to deal with him. Can they work on a technique, a scheme to manage this guy? Because if they can, it's going to help Jaden Daniels stay upright and deliver that football down the field.
All eyes will be on Micah Parsons and this matchup for the last time of the regular season. For head coach Dan Quinn, Logan Paulsen, Bryan Colbert Jr., this is the game plan. Let's get this win today over the Dallas Cowboys.